Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are right now. I need you to pause everything for just a moment. What I'm about to share could fundamentally shift how you move, how you feel, and how you experience life going forward. Here's something most physicians will never openly acknowledge. Your legs aren't weakening simply because time is passing. Your legs are weakening because nobody ever taught you how to properly nourish them. There's a crucial distinction between those two statements. One feels like an inevitability, the other is actionable. I'm Dr. William Lee, and today I'm sharing the solution. 6 specific foods, ranked from beneficial to genuinely life-altering, that can reconstruct leg strength, revitalize muscle, and restore the steadiness and certainty you thought had disappeared forever. Before I continue, let me share something that genuinely startled me upon first reading it. Researchers at the American Geriatric Society conducted a significant study finding that people past 65 experiencing marked lower limb weakness faced a 72% elevated risk of mobility problems within just 5 years, alongside concerning rises in fall-related injuries, institutional care admissions, and preventable mortality. 72%. That's not marginal. That's approaching 3/4 of people who might have made different choices earlier had they possessed the nutritional understanding we have today. And something you should know right now, the leading food on this list is probably sitting in your kitchen at this very moment. Something you may have been cautioned against, and something Harvard researchers now consider among the most effective compounds for supporting muscle in people over 60. I'm saving that revelation for the end, because once you learn it, everything about your shopping habits will shift. Before we proceed, though, I want to ask something personal. Write something in the comments sharing your age and whether your legs have felt less powerful, heavier, or unstable lately. Perhaps climbing stairs has become taxing. Perhaps you've had a close call with a fall. Perhaps standing from a seated position requires more effort. I review every single comment here. Your experience could inspire someone else to find this and transform their well-being. Please spend a moment sharing. Now, everything we're going to explore today, strengthening your legs through nutrition, this is exactly what my patients bring up in nearly every conversation. I've gathered everything I advise my own patients about and distilled it into a comprehensive resource called the After 60 Protocol, Live Longer and Stronger Past 60. It addresses 28 significant health markers that shift with aging, including your blood pressure, your metabolic health, your cognitive function, your balance, and stability. Many thousands of people are already using it to take command of their health, and I've witnessed it transform countless lives into their strongest years. The link is available in the description and posted as the top comment whenever you need it. Now let's dive in. We're counting backward from 6 through 1, from impactful to transformative. Number 6 might astonish you. Eggs. You've encountered the egg controversy throughout your lifetime. They spike cholesterol. They damage cardiac health. Discard them. Step away. I'm here to tell you, backed by contemporary nutritional evidence, that this guidance, particularly for people over 60, represents one of the most harmful health messages ever disseminated widely. Here's what eggs genuinely accomplish for aging leg muscles. Eggs rank among the most complete sources of leucine available in food. Leucine is an amino acid. If that's unfamiliar, think of leucine as the ignition key for muscle protein synthesis, the process where your body manufactures and restores muscle tissue. Beyond age 65, your physiology develops what specialists term anabolic resistance. Your muscles grow stubborn. They stop responding effectively to protein signals. They require more substantial activation to produce results. Leucine supplies that activation. 2 whole eggs deliver roughly 1.6 grams of leucine. Research from Illinois demonstrates this quantity effectively triggers muscle protein synthesis, even among seniors experiencing significant anabolic resistance. But eggs provide something beyond leucine. The yolk, what everyone advised you to discard, contains choline, vitamin D, and phosphatidylcholine, a substance that fortifies your muscle cell membranes. As you age, those membranes grow vulnerable, less effective at holding onto the compounds muscles need for contraction and healing. The yolk functions as armor for your muscle cells. Discarding it resembles purchasing a vehicle and abandoning the motor. One of my patients, Patricia, aged 74 from Miami, arrived after experiencing 2 falls within half a year. She felt threatened by her own staircase. She'd been following a reduced fat regimen for over a decade, steering clear of eggs on previous medical direction. We incorporated 3 whole eggs into her breakfast regimen. Within several weeks, she ascended her staircase unassisted for the initial time in years. That's not random. That's leucine, choline, and vitamin D performing precisely as research predicts. Consume 2 to 3 whole eggs at breakfast, ideally with a little healthy fat like olive oil or avocado, which we'll address later. The fat improves absorption of fat-soluble nutrients in the yolk. Avoid cooking them in dry pans. Use low temperatures, gentle preparation that maintains protein structure. Moving to item number 5, wild-caught salmon. If your legs feel weighted down, if they spasm through the night, if they feel sore upon waking, chronic inflammation is likely quietly eroding your muscle while you rest. Wild-caught salmon serves as nature's strongest anti-inflammatory agent ever documented. The critical components are EPA and DHA, omega-3 fats. Before those letters lose your attention, understand their function in your aging system. Picture inflammation inside muscle tissue as a wildfire. It ignites modestly, burns steadily at low intensity, and across years, it scorches everything: muscle fibers, connective structures, neural pathways transmitting signals from your mind to your limbs, commanding movement. EPA and DHA resemble water-dropping helicopters. They don't simply extinguish the flames. They chemically neutralize inflammatory chemicals, particularly prostaglandins and cytokines that your physiology creates in increasing quantities after 60. Scottish researchers examined 87 individuals over 65 throughout 18 weeks. Those receiving omega-3s, matching roughly 3 weekly salmon servings, demonstrated a 22% improvement in muscle protein synthesis compared to the comparison group. 22% from consuming fish. That's not pharmaceutical intervention. That's sustenance. Salmon delivers another advantage for aging legs that rarely gets discussed. It represents one of the scarce food sources of active vitamin D3, the variant your skin cannot efficiently manufacture after reaching 70. Medical literature confirms that vitamin D insufficiency, impacting approximately 77% of people over 65, correlates directly with muscle deterioration, compromised stability, and heightened sarcopenia risk, the clinical designation for age-related muscle wasting. A single serving of wild-caught salmon provides up to 988 IU of vitamin D3. The evidence-based daily target for people over 70 equals 800 IU. You're covered in one sitting. Include salmon twice or thrice weekly. Wild-caught status matters significantly. Farmed salmon demonstrates a substantially different omega-3 to omega-6 composition and lacks the same inflammatory benefits. Accompany it with dark greens to maximize vitamin K2 coordination, which connects to our subsequent selection. Number 4 carries almost legendary standing among researchers studying longevity. Dark leafy greens and spinach. Consider every older individual you've witnessed who moved with purpose, rising from seats without arm assistance, ambulating without hesitation. I'd wager dark greens featured prominently in their regular intake. The physiology clarifies why. Beyond 75, your system loses roughly 35% of its nitric oxide recycling capacity. Nitric oxide governs blood circulation in your limbs like an air traffic controller. When levels fall, Your microcirculation, the microscopic channels supplying your quads, hamstrings, and lower leg muscles, becomes congested. Nutrients cannot enter. Metabolic byproducts cannot exit. Muscles tire rapidly, recover sluggishly, and diminish steadily. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard, and arugula overflow with dietary nitrates, which your physiology reconverts into nitric oxide through bacteria in your mouth. You're basically using nutrition to compensate for what aging removed. Swedish researchers discovered that nitrate consumption matching about 200 grams of spinach-enhanced muscle efficiency in older adults by 19%. Muscles didn't expand, they simply functioned more effectively using existing oxygen and nutrients. Imagine improving the fuel injection on an aging automobile. The engine remains unchanged, yet operates with greater smoothness, cleanliness, and longevity. Spinach contains exceptional magnesium amounts. Roughly 68% of Americans over 60 have chronic magnesium depletion. Magnesium participates in over 300 chemical processes, and critically, in muscle relaxation. Nighttime leg spasms, calf tightening, spontaneous foot contractions, these indicate inadequate magnesium. One serving of cooked spinach delivers 157 milligrams, fulfilling roughly 37% of daily requirements in a single portion. I had a patient, Daniel, 71, a former letter carrier from Denver, experiencing what he termed legs packed with cement every dawn. He'd consumed magnesium supplements for extended periods with minimal improvement. We changed direction. 2 servings of sautéed spinach with olive oil and garlic daily. After several weeks, the concrete sensation evaporated. He resumed his old delivery path recreationally, purely for enjoyment. The olive oil substantially increases absorption of fat-soluble spinach compounds. Always prepare greens with quality fat. Right at this moment, between item 4 and 3, I want to pause and ask, if this has already revealed something previously unknown, please click the like button now. It guides YouTube to recommend this content to additional seniors who require this knowledge. And if subscription hasn't occurred yet, do it now. Every single week, I deliver clinically supported, actionable guidance designed specifically for people determined to live more powerfully, longer, and independently. The subscribe button sits right there. 1 second. It could be among your wisest health decisions today. Moving to number 3, and now we're entering remarkable territory. Greek yogurt. Most consider yogurt a guilt-free snack, something consumed when adhering to proper eating. Most don't recognize that full-fat Greek yogurt ranks among the most anabolically potent options for aging bodies, yet remains dramatically underutilized for muscle development in seniors. This belongs here because 1 serving of unsweetened full-fat Greek yogurt contains roughly 17 to 20 grams of excellent protein. Importantly, it presents a specialized amino acid composition, encompassing leucine, isoleucine, and valine, the 3 branched-chain amino acids that get absorbed directly into muscle tissue with exceptional speed. Unlike plant proteins, frequently incomplete and needing pairing with additional sources for complete utility, Greek yogurt's protein demonstrates remarkable bioavailability. The route is direct. It arrives where muscles need it. But Greek yogurt's genuine advantage for older people extends past protein provision. It harbors active probiotic microorganisms, chiefly lactobacillus, which affect what specialists now designate the gut-muscle relationship. This emerging research domain yields remarkable discoveries. California scientists found that vigorous bacterial populations in older adults aligned with increased muscle tissue, superior leg function metrics, and quicker recuperation after physical demands. Your digestive system isn't merely processing nutrition. It regulates how completely your musculature can use that nutrition. Following age 65, your gut bacteria typically become less varied, less vigorous, and less competent at recovering nutrients. Probiotic-rich options like Greek yogurt replenish that variety. Envision restocking a library, steadily losing volumes. The fuller the collection, the better your physiology discovers and employs necessary information. For optimal results, consume Greek yogurt within 30 to 45 minutes following any activity. Even modest walking counts. That's your anabolic opening, when muscles are most receptive to protein communication. Incorporate a tablespoon of ground flaxseed for supplementary omega-3s or drizzle with unpasteurized honey, which includes enzymes improving probiotic survival. Always purchase unsweetened full-fat versions. Low-fat replacements typically substitute removed fat with additional sugar, escalating the inflammation we're combating. We're now at number 2, and I mentioned early on that a top selection would catch you off guard. This is it. Number 2, beets. Several of you are grinning. Others maintain skepticism, which I genuinely understand. Beets don't immediately evoke leg development, yet the science regarding beets and physical capacity in older people proves so powerful that prominent sports medical organizations now incorporate beet-derived substances into recovery strategies. This transcends folk wisdom. This represents cutting-edge science applied to aging physiology. The focus centers on those dietary nitrates I mentioned with spinach, though beets concentrate them at roughly 3 to 4 times the density per weight compared to any leafy green. One medium beet supplies approximately 300 milligrams of dietary nitrates. When those nitrates reach the low oxygen setting of active muscle fibers, they transform into nitric oxide with remarkable effectiveness. The outcome researchers label a vasodilatory event, a cascade of blood vessel expansion flooding leg muscles with oxygen and nutrients in quantities aging arteries normally cannot independently generate. Wake Forest scientists found that older participants consuming beet juice, matching 2 medium beets, before moderate activity demonstrated a 38% improvement in cerebral blood flow to brain regions directing movement control. Differently stated, beets enhanced more than leg function. They improved the brain's capacity to govern those legs. For seniors worried about falls, coordination, and the nervous system communication eroding across time, this matters enormously. Beets overflow with betaine, a molecule that decreases homocysteine in blood. Elevated homocysteine, impacting roughly 47% of people over 60, correlates with quickened muscle deterioration, arterial dysfunction, and compromised mitochondrial efficiency. Mitochondria represent your muscle cells' electrical generating systems. When damaged, your muscles operate like a car with a dying battery. Betaine fortifies the biochemistry safeguarding these generators. My patient Victor, 67, from Austin, arrived after multiple physicians assured him his leg diminishment and persistent exhaustion were inevitable parts of aging. At 67, he navigated with a cane. We incorporated 2 roasted beets into his midday meal 4 times weekly. We also began brief daily walking. In just under 3 months, he returned without assistance. He'd resumed cultivating his garden. The emotion in that moment was significant. I wouldn't diminish acknowledging the depth I felt then as well. Roast beets at 400 degrees for 45 to 60 minutes to amplify nitrate amounts without degrading them. Alternatively, combine uncooked beets into a beverage with modest citrus. The vitamin C in citrus dramatically accelerates nitrate conversion performance. Refrain from extended boiling, as water-based nitrates escape. Match beets with any lean protein source, and you've prepared among the most potent pre-exercise meals available to aging bodies. And now we arrive at number 1, the selection I referenced in this video's opening. The option scientists at Harvard have identified as among the most effective muscle-protecting substances available to people past 60. The food unfairly criticized, discouraged, and eliminated from countless seniors' diets based on outdated understanding. Number 1, extra virgin olive oil. Possibly you anticipated a protein, a manufactured superfood, something rare. Remain with me because my explanation regarding extra virgin olive oil and aging musculature will completely transform your comprehension of fats, inflammation, and muscular architecture. Let's start with what distinguishes extra virgin olive oil distinctly from every alternative dietary fat globally. It contains oleocanthal. This natural polyphenol, a botanical substance, functions within your system nearly equivalently to ibuprofen. Matching apparatus. It suppresses identical inflammatory enzymes COX1 and COX2 that pharmaceutical pain medications target. The distinction: oleocanthal accomplishes this without gastric ulceration, renal stress, or cardiovascular complications accompanying sustained NSAID dependence. For older populations disproportionately prescribed anti-inflammatories for musculoskeletal discomfort, this distinction is essential. However, muscle-targeted advantages surpass anti-inflammatory action. Researchers from Athens followed 840 people over 65 throughout 3 years in a primary examination. Those ingesting minimum quantities of 4 daily tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil demonstrated 37% reduced sarcopenia prevalence compared to infrequent consumers. Sarcopenia, the progressive unwilling diminishment of muscle mass and capacity starting near 40 and intensifying dramatically following 60, dropped 37% through olive oil consumption alone. The biological explanation, which Harvard specialists find most fascinating: the polyphenols packed in extra virgin olive oil, over 30 unique varieties, appear to directly stimulate what specialists call mTOR pathway activity in muscle tissue. The mTOR pathway represents the central controller for muscle protein synthesis. It's the identical switch that leucine initiates, that physical training activates, that hormonal signals trigger. Olive oil polyphenols engage that switch separately. They function without exercise demands. They operate without requiring elevated hormones. They work inside the cell independent of surrounding circumstances. Following 70, your physiology loses roughly 40% of mTOR responsiveness. Your muscles grow more resistant to development not from reduced protein or diminished training alone, but because the biological machinery performing that construction runs at decreased capacity. Extra virgin olive oil represents one of the few dietary substances apparently capable of restoring some capacity. Imagine recalibrating a thermostat that's been positioned too low for extended time. Beyond that sits the mitochondrial component. Spanish scientists discovered that hydroxytyrosol, one more polyphenol abundant in extra virgin olive oil, guards mitochondrial genetic material in muscle tissue against deterioration. As years accumulate, our mitochondrial genetic code gathers mistakes comparable to a document repeatedly photocopied. Duplicates get blurry, instructions become garbled. Muscle cells manufacture diminished electricity, heal gradually, and eventually malfunction. Hydroxytyrosol appears to decelerate that mitochondrial collapse by eliminating the destructive molecules initiating deterioration. I want to discuss Robert, 81, a former military officer from Jacksonville. Upon arrival, he couldn't traverse more than 2 blocks before requiring rest. His legs, as he expressed it, simply declined cooperation. His regimen was careful, very minimal fat, very lean. He'd prevented fats for 30 years per his era's recommendations. We incorporated 4 daily tablespoons of premium extra virgin olive oil, 2 servings over eggs during breakfast, 2 servings over vegetables at lunch. We maintained everything else consistently for 30 days. At his 6-week appointment, he navigated 4 blocks without pausing. At 12 weeks, he'd returned to cycling. At half a year, he finished a 2-mile veterans fundraiser walk. He forwarded me the photograph. It decorates my office. 4 tablespoons represents the evidence-supported quantity. Employ it as your primary lower-temperature cooking medium. Distribute it generously over vegetables, eggs, seafood, and beans. For maximizing absorption of its fat-dependent compounds, pair with foods containing fat-dependent nutrients, eggs, salmon, spinach, all already featured on this compilation. That coordination isn't coincidental. These 6 selections function as a unified framework. Applying them regularly, the combined influence on leg function, systemic swelling, cellular energy production, and movement far exceeds what individual items achieve independently. Purchase extra virgin olive oil packaged in opaque glass from trustworthy sources. Identify a harvest date, not simply an expiration date. Polyphenol amounts diminish through aging and brightness. Fresh oil operates as medicine. Discounted supermarket shelf oil represents merely fat. Let me emphasize something essential, because I want you leaving here not just knowledgeable, but genuinely inspired toward transformation. You weren't constructed to assume a spectator's role. You weren't intended to observe from indoors while youngsters play outside. You weren't designed to grasp railings descending, to skip community walks, to decline a celebration dance out of fear your body won't cooperate. That's not your genetic story. That's a consequence of knowledge nobody supplied. Currently, we're providing it. Improvement occurs perpetually. I convey this as established fact, not motivation. Your muscular composition maintains developmental and restorative capability deep into your 80s. Science is definitive. Your body prepares to reconstruct. It awaits the necessary elements. Beginning immediately, beginning with your following meal, your responsibility centers on supplying those elements. 6 eggs, wild salmon, leafy greens, Greek yogurt, 2 roasted beets, 4 tablespoons of superior olive oil. These remain straightforward items. They're obtainable in virtually every marketplace internationally. They restore something most individuals at your life stage have surrendered: capability to live your existence on your conditions with potency, assurance, and vigor. Scientific documentation supporting every investigation cited appears within the description. Examine them, discuss with your physicians, and champion yourself. If you haven't yet subscribed, do so immediately. Every week, I present fact-based, senior-targeted health education your physician likely hasn't time to explain during office visits. This group expands because supporters like you transmit it to individuals you treasure. That importance exceeds my words' capacity. I now want your participation. Reply below. Identify which selection you'll introduce initially. Communicate how your legs have been experiencing. Communicate your account, because this channel serves you individually, not theoretically, but specifically with your identity and your narrative and your distinct interpretation of this progression. I genuinely examine every reply. Until we connect again, nourish yourself adequately, participate in movement consistently, and perpetually retain confidence that your greatest opportunities haven't already happened. They're waiting for you to embrace them.